Well, hello again and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, intelligent, hard-working second part of our Walt Disney World trip loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. Hi, everybody.
So good to have you with us. We are recording this episode actually on Saturday, May 1st, 2021. Why are we recording this on Saturday when we normally do them on Sunday?
Do tell.
Well, we have a little something planned for tomorrow that we're very excited about. We are actually going to be at the Disneyland Resort, returning to Disneyland for the first time in well over a year, and we couldn't be more excited about it.
Oh, my God. Yeah, just cannot wait for it. I keep looking at the app, seeing what's going on today and keeping an eye out on things, and have a friend out there who's been sending some great info too. So very excited about it. I think I have all the dishes of food that I'm going to eat tomorrow. Already, I made a list. I'm ready.
We're fired up. We're fired up for it. Yes. Actually, by the time this episode drops on Sunday, we will probably be somewhere midway through a batch of lobster nachos at the Lamplight Lounge, which we're really excited about. We're going to California Adventure first. That's just kind of the way it worked. And then we have park hoppers. So later on in the day, we'll be, of course, going back to the original, the Disneyland park itself, and excited to do all of that. We're excited for the food. We're excited for the attractions. We're just excited to be back at the happiest place on earth.
Yeah, can't wait to see the cast members, and I think I'm going to get choked up.
Yeah, I know I am.
I know, right?
I am. I'm completely going to be. I got choked up when we first returned to Walt Disney World.
Right.
A couple different occasions. Disneyland is kind of my park because that's what the one I grew up with. I grew up here on the West Coast, so that one's going to strike, I think, even more at home with me when we look up and see like Walt's lamp still lit in his apartment, and just getting back there. It's just going to be so magnificent and wonderful, and I can't wait to thank all the cast members who went through all the trials and tribulations that they have over the past years and are back there and welcoming us back. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, like I said, what's been put out there on social media so far just looks fabulous, and it's been a long time, and it's great that finally this park is reopened. And
long overdue.
Yeah, it's probably good that we're going to California Adventure Park first for you, because I think if we went into Disneyland first,
I'd be really dehydrated within the first hour, from all the tears.
Right. I would say you'd probably just keep crying, going step by step by step. It's like, okay, an hour later, come on, let's...
It's going to work out great, but so we're so excited, and hopefully, obviously, by the time you're listening to this, we're already there. You may be listening to it days after we've already gone. Hopefully, you've checked us out on social media, because we will be posting pictures and our experience. And next week, we'll be recapping the whole trip, so that'll be a lot of fun as well. Yes, a different trip recap. Yes, so exciting. So thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
you'll want to sign up for the newsletter, because Tom does an amazing job each week at the newsletter, and you'll love it.
Well, hopefully you love it, but it's just another way to kind of be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. We just kind of get more information out to you, usually first before anybody else, through the newsletter. And we have a lot of stuff in there as far as, where you can get our merchandise, which I don't think I mentioned well enough, is we have a Spreadshirt shop that you can get some of our logo merchandise, and as well as our hashtag Real Men Love Frozen t-shirts, which we love. And people have, whenever I've worn those in the parks, people have, taken pictures of it and really enjoyed it. So
it's a great shirt.
Yeah, thank you.
Great logo.
So hopefully you can get all of that. And of course, Disney Dishes blog, which we don't mention nearly enough on this website as well. On this podcast, mention the website on this podcast as much as well. I've actually been a little slow on getting new Disney dishes out there over the last few weeks, because I've had a lot of stuff going on, but I'm hoping to get back to that this week and have a new Disney dish. And but either way, we are still posting classic recipes on the newsletter every single week.
Yeah, I mean, we just got back from vacation, still getting all that unsettled and getting ready for Disneyland and all that. So
Yeah.
Busy.
Lots of stuff going on. So the other way to stay in touch with us is on social media. As I mentioned, we'll be posting a lot of the pictures from our Disneyland trip, our upcoming Walt Disney World trips, etc. on social media. Please follow us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel where we're kind of putting out this content on YouTube, not as elaborate a video as we were doing once, but it still is just kind of another way that you can listen to the show. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
We really love hearing from you. It's just so warm and touching when, each week that we get emails from people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just want to let you all know we love it. Continue that. And if you do have any questions for us, sometimes it's just a question of clarification that we may just respond back to you. But if it's something that we think a lot of people might have a question on, we'll definitely share it as well.
Yes, love the interaction either off the show or on the show with you all. So anyway, whether it be on social media, if you want to direct message us, or just contact us straight through the channels of social media, or of course the Gmail account, that's great. Also, another thing we love is reviews. If you ever leave us a review, a 5-star review, I'm probably not going to read a 1-star review on the air, but a 5-star review I will be happy to read on the air and give you credit for it. And thank you very much for that. And for all those who have already given us reviews, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely appreciate it. Love the feedback.
Yes, very much so. As for today's show, we have lots of stuff for you, including we received all sorts, like so many details about Disney Cruise Line's newest ship that will join the fleet next year. We're going to talk all about that.
Yeah.
And Disneyland's membership program may be coming a little bit sooner than we expected. We will talk about that as well. But let's get to our main topic of the week. So this week's topic, we're going back to our trip from just a couple weeks ago, our April Walt Disney World trip recap, part 2 this week. This is, of course, our entire trip started. We went from Saturday, April 17th to Saturday, April 24th. We covered the first 4 days last week. If you haven't heard that episode yet, go back and check it out. Part 1 of the trip recap, we include our stay at Bay Lake Towers, our journey to Epcot for the Taste of Epcot International Flower and Garden Festival, and our visit to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Definitely check that out. It was a fun episode to cover. Today, we'll be doing the second half of the trip, which will be Wednesday through Saturday. That's going to include our return visit to the Magic Kingdom Park, going to Disney's Animal Kingdom Park for Earth Day and its birthday, as well as we spent a few days out on the Space Coast, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Fun days.
So we'll start with Wednesday, which was the day that we went to visit Magic Kingdom. It was a great day, beautiful day, a little bit toasty, but very nice day to go visit the Magic Kingdom.
Right. I mean, we had that little taste of it the first day there, but this was where we were really going to spend time to really, capture the full essence of the park. And it was a very special day. Yeah.
It was great, top to bottom. Really loved it. Totally enjoyed ourselves. The first thing we did, we walked over from Bay Lake Towers. One of the benefits of staying at Bay Lake Towers or the Contemporary is the easy walk straight there, walk there, walk back. It just was one of the magical parts of staying at that resort.
Right. It's so convenient. I mean, it is nice, taking monorails, and it's convenient in one direction and not as much. So not that it's inconvenient, but the walk is super great. And you feel like, oh, good, I did some more walking.
Yeah, exactly. And because you need more walking when you go to the Walt Disney World Resort, because you just don't do enough of it. But it's not a tough walk. It's a quick walk, 10 minutes, whatever it is. There's your own security checkpoint where it's hardly ever a line to go through, really easy. So it really works well. We did do the facial recognition test entry point going into Magic Kingdom, which was kind of cool. We wanted to be sure when we found it. We thought it was going to be at multiple parks, but it just is currently at Magic Kingdom right now. What did you think of doing the facial recognition entry point? Yeah,
I was excited about it. I was surprised at how many other people were interested in, knew about it and were interested in doing it as well. So, it was neat doing that, and I look forward to seeing what comes of this, pilot project that they're trying out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about you?
I thought it was really easy. And it was just, correct me if I'm wrong, because I may be not remembering it exactly right. But you just kind of went up there and you tapped your magic band there and stood in front of the camera and took your picture, and that was it. You went in. It cleared you. It says your magic band's good. You have a reservation, and you can go in. And then that was it. And this is going to be used later on to kind of be able to get us into the parks if everything works as expected.
Right.
Am I right on all that?
Yeah, you did have to take your mask off, obviously.
That's right.
So you'd have a full facial feature situation there. So, I think mine took a little bit longer. I don't know what.
Because you're short. The camera had to pan way down to see you there.
I don't know.
It's like, where is she? Oh, she's just a little vertically challenged.
Right.
I got it.
I mean,
Get the child's camera out.
Right. It really was a moment, but it was funny that yours was bing and you threw, and mine was like, all right, hold on. No. Okay. All right, now it's ready.
We know this guy. We've seen him. We're already keeping our eye on this guy. So they already had facial recognition on me. Anyway, easy. We don't know how long they're going to be doing this test for, but if they're doing it, we suggest giving it a try, because it's kind of fun, and it's something that could come into play later on as they are developing new technology for ways to get in and out of the parks.
Right. It is amazing that it was, just before the pandemic here at Disneyland, that they were still looking at photos. Like when you would scan your ticket in, it would pull up your photo on, they had like these little handheld devices, and it would have your picture and the name. So it's neat that they're going to the next level with technology to do that.
Right. Exactly. So we walked into Magic Kingdom. It was so great to be back. Went around, went to the hub. The Dapper Dans were up there singing away, which was great. And we'd already texted him. He was there waiting for us. Yes, and we mentioned it a little bit on last week's episode. That is where we met Justin Monorail from the Morning Monorail family, the Morning Monorail podcast. And we just had the best day with him.
Yeah, it was a blast. First of all, I think I mentioned this last week too, is that, very much appreciative that he took the time midweek, to set up his schedule so he could meet with us out there. And so that was really touching and nice that he did that. And, he's so fun, and it's great to have that opportunity, just, one-on-one, to get to know somebody better, ask some questions, and get to really understand them. We've had some small chats when we've done each other's shows, but this was great though, really getting to, know each other better.
Right. And we've mentioned it before. One of the surprisingly great things about doing this podcast that we found is the community that we've been involved with, that we've found that are relatively like-minded with us. They're good people that we've really just kind of grown with as this show has grown. And it's so great whenever we get the chance to actually meet some of them in person for the first time. We feel like we've, communicated so often, like you said, on social media, through being on each other's shows. It almost felt like we'd known each other for a long time, but we'd never really met face to face before. But it was a really easy conversation. We went, we got together. Yeah. We're vaccinated. We hugged it out, which was nice to do. And then we took our trek down Main Street, USA, walking right down the middle of Main Street, US.
Well, kind of going on what you were saying, like with social media, you do get an understanding of people. And as I mentioned, also with us chatting as we were getting ready to record different podcasts. So you have that acquaintance, I guess, is the best way to feel like you kind of already know that like that groundwork is done. It's unlike, when you go to a cocktail party and you're meeting people and you're trying to, start with the very basic of small talk to get to know somebody. So that's nice that was already out of the way. We already knew he was an amazing and fun person to be with. So it was great to share that in person. And I think we talked about this with him. It's as adults, you don't have that same kind of feeling generally like kids do when they go to start a school year or something and they make new friends, and it's an exciting time. And to have that feeling again as adults, it's just so unique and just amazing, and great to call Justin our new friend.
Yeah, our new friend
in that
who's
regard.
been our old friend for a
yeah.
long time. Yeah. Unfortunately, Samantha Monorail couldn't make it out. She couldn't get off work that day. Sorry, Sam. We missed you dearly. We hope that in the future we have a trip in June. We have other trips coming up. We're expecting that eventually we will be able to connect with you as well as the rest of the Monorail family. We're excited for it, but we had a great time. And then we went to Big Thunder. That was our first ride that we did together. I heard Justin talking about it on the latest Monorail podcast. That we will always have that. Yes, we will always have Big Thunder.
And that he got in the last seat. He was happy about that.
Yeah. So. We did the Haunted Mansion. We did Jungle Cruise. I bought him a Dole Whip, and we just sat back and talked and, discussed many things that have been going on over the last several months, especially over the last year during the pandemic. and just shared some good times, some laughs. It was just a great morning with Justin Monorail.
Right. It was fun to share some things that were, somewhat new to us that we, either didn't get to do last trip or just some things changed, like Jungle Cruise, how they're already starting to reimagine some things. And, to be able to share that with a friend was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of fun. Great time. Looking forward again to connecting with him and the whole Monorail crew and virtually everybody else that we have connected with thanks to this podcast out on social media and through the newsletter responses, whatever. So that was a great time.
So I'm sorry. I think I diverted from your walk down middle of Main Street, though.
That
flow.
We kind of went through that. We walked down Main Street. We took the left. We went to you had noticed right away that Big Thunder's wait wasn't very long. As a matter of fact, it was less than it was, as most things are. They're cushioned nowadays. It was less than we expected. We pretty much walked right onto Big Thunder, as we did with Haunted Mansion as well. Pretty much walked right into Haunted Mansion. So that worked out really well for us. And so, like I said, great morning with Justin. We got to around noon, and we had a reservation for the Jungle Navigation Company Limited Skipper Canteen. Say that 5 times fast. So that was when we said our goodbyes to Justin. I know he spent the rest of the day at the park and took a lot of great pictures, and we're very happy for him. But we went to have our lunch, and as always, the Skipper Canteen is terrific. It's our favorite spot to eat at Magic Kingdom.
Right. It is, if you haven't had an opportunity to go there, it really is worth it. First of all, if you love the Jungle Cruise and the comedy of it, they don't hit you over the head with it, but it's there, and it's the little touches of it. And there are 3 distinct areas to eat, and they really do try to accommodate your requests. It's all dependent on how much you're willing to wait as well. But we requested a particular room, and they accommodated us, and it really wasn't adding to the wait that I saw.
No, we actually got in much when we asked for it. Sometimes we have to wait, an extra 15, 20 minutes or whatever. It was like immediate. So we just got lucky with our timing that we were able to get right in. But yeah, the 2 side rooms, I believe, are the Sea Room and the Jungle Room. We highly recommend if you go there, try asking for one of those rooms, because they're just a little more quaint, quiet. Nothing wrong with the main area, the main commissary area there, but we just like those other 2 rooms much better.
Yes, I mean, I do think the main room, it is larger, and you get a little bit more light and a little bit more maybe things. Well, I guess not more things to see, because there are quite a few little touches in the other rooms too. But yeah, you're right. It does have a more quaint feeling to it, more, especially if you're trying to have a conversation. I think it makes it easier. It's a little less noisy.
A little quieter, and just it's just nicer. But food's always great there. It's always kind of this interesting mixture of various different cuisines, whether it be Indian, African, just all sorts of Asian, all sorts of different cuisines from around the world kind of put together. You got the sustainable fish with kind of a habanero barbecue sauce that was with it that we've had before, and it's delicious.
It is delicious. And I don't think I'm as adventurous of an eater as you are. So I point that out, because if you're listening and you're not the biggest adventurer, it still has things to offer that are not scary. And but that dish, their sustainable fish does change depend on what is currently available in that category. But it is always, great, and it has great accompaniments with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great dish. I've had it before, and I love it too. I got, what is it? Stew's curry. It was like the crew stew curry or whatever it was. That is always wonderful. It is so tasty. It's one of my favorite dishes, and I'm happy to get it every single time. And we, a nice glass of wine. You had a Riesling. I had a Sauvignon Blanc. Went great with the dish, and it was just a wonderful, nice, quiet lunch in one of our favorite spots.
It really is. And like I said, the decor is really relaxing, especially if you're, running around. I mean, that day we weren't so much, but there are times that we are, and it's nice to have that relaxation. And, they do provide for certain discounts, whether it's DVC. I don't know about annual passes.
Yeah. Tables in Wonderland, as long as, tables, we're still up in the air on what's happening with Tables in Wonderland. I think ours just expired at the end of this month, unfortunately, but at least we got to use it one more time.
Yep.
So we're still up in the air on what's going to happen with Tables in Wonderland, but up to this point, it has been available there if you do want a glass of wine or whatever.
It's included in the discount. Yeah,
that's a good one. Always enjoyable. Love this Skipper Canteen. It's a must-do every time we go to, have a day at Magic Kingdom, and we suggest you check it out yourself.
Yes.
So after we left the Skipper Canteen, we decided we were going to get a few more pictures. There was one in particular that we were looking for. So we went out by the castle. It was a beautiful day, mostly sunny. We got some great pictures out by Cinderella Castle. Then we found the one we were looking for. It was our second chance to do the super zoom photo. This one in the hub there.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've been looking forward to that one for a while now since they've had it. And we really haven't had an opportunity until now to really get that, and it looked a little iffy for a second there, but hey, that came through.
Yeah, because sometimes the cameras will not be quite working the way they need them to, or they're not talking to the people that are trying to get them to work, whatever. And that was happening with this one for a while, but we lucked out in our timing, and actually there wasn't much. There was only one family in line. They were waiting for another family member who had gone off because they've been waiting to go get a snack or go use the restroom or something. I don't know. So we got to actually go first in front of them. And it really worked out well. And we got a great picture there, and I'm happy to do that. And I'll talk about another time we did that here coming up later in this episode.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just me that I'm in tune to it more, but I just find the photographers even more friendly than before the pandemic. I mean, not that they were ever bad, but it just seems like they have a new energy to them.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah, I kind of agree with you that it just, the PhotoPass photographers at Disney are always great. They've always been great, but I agree with you. We've been lucking into some really good encounters with some of them recently.
Right. I mean, I think in the past, maybe to get some of the magic shots, there was more of an attempt needed to request it, and now it was offered way more often. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know.
It could be.
That they have more of them, so maybe they're excited. There's a lot more photo ops.
Yeah. So that was actually all we kind of did for our Magic Kingdom that day. We actually headed back to Bay Lake Towers, to our room for one reason, is because I mentioned it last episode. I'm currently looking for a new job, and I was approached. I had an email saying, we need you to fill out this information. And since I don't want a potential job to be waiting for me, we went back and, I filled out this information. And then when we were back, we're like, yeah, it's kind of nice here. We got this great room. Also, it looks really nice at the pool. It might be crowded down there because it's a really nice day, but let's go check it out. Worst comes to worst, we'll go pick up a poolside cocktail. Right. So we went down there, picked up. Well, actually, we went to the pool, changed into our pool gear just in case we found a spot, looked around the pool. It didn't look like we were going to find a good spot, but just in time, Michelle, eagle eye that she is, spotted the perfect 2 chairs under an umbrella. It just opened up. We just saw them be cleaned before us, so we knew that was no problem. plopped down there and I went and got us some cocktails, some bar cocktails, and just enjoyed the afternoon by the pool. Another, what was it, 3 hours or so there.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, if you're interested, this was at the Contemporary this time versus Bay Lake Tower Pool. They do have people that will take your cocktail order, but it might not be as efficient as just going to get it yourself. Right. And
I mean, I guess if you want a cocktail and you're still kind of keeping an eye on your kids or whatever, it might be easier for you than trying to, leave, be out of their sight, and go to the pool bar and pick these things up. But as far as timing wise, it was much quicker for me to go walk up there and get them myself than it was because, the waitress she's taking orders from 4 or 5 different families or whatever. And then you have to go back there, get the drinks made. And she ran into a problem where there are people visiting the bar and she was trying to get drinks made. Right. So it was like, it's where do those fall in line? So it took a while for that drink to come. But it's all what works best for you. So that was nice. It was a really nice afternoon by the pool. Both our pool days, which we don't normally do more than just maybe one day, maybe one afternoon at the pool. We decided to take advantage of it more this time and really enjoyed both our pool days.
Right. It definitely was nice that it was spring weather, so it wasn't really cold. Like when we went in February, it was very cold when we went to the pool, and it wasn't like summer heat and humidity, so it was perfect pool weather.
It was just nice enough to be able to get a little sun if you wanted to, or like we got umbrella chases each time. Also just sit there in the shade and relax and just enjoy the afternoon with a cocktail and a book or whatever you wanted to do. So that was really nice. So we did eventually leave the pool because actually I needed to pick up a rental car.
That's right.
Because we have something planned for the end of the week that was going to take us away from the Walt Disney World Resort. So we needed to get a rental car. And the one great thing about this is that before we even left on our journey, the company that we rented through, which is at the Orlando Disney Car Care Center there, called us and said, are you going to need a shuttle to get this car? And I said, yeah. When do you need it? And then we scheduled it well ahead of time. Now, I wouldn't suggest you, depending on that, if you're planning to rent from the car care center there, be sure and call to get the shuttle and schedule the shuttle to pick you up and do it as early as possible. That way you can get the time you want. But it was really convenient. They picked me up right on time. I was the only one in the shuttle. We did an afternoon pickup, so I think it was just slower at that point as well. And zipped me there. Went right to the counter, signed a couple things, got my car, and was right back within an hour back to our hotel room and another nice dinner that Michelle made us.
You're sweet.
Michelle did all the cooking for this trip. It was great.
It was my pleasure. Again, it wasn't as gourmet or as yummy as what you do.
It was yummy to me.
I was glad to do it for you.
And it was we had another nice dinner. Got up on Thursday. This was the day we were leaving the Walt Disney World Resort, leaving Bay Lake Towers. So we had to pack up. I think we actually did most of our packing the night before, so we didn't have that much to do.
Right.
Sometimes in the mornings on the day we're leaving, we're like rushing around. We're not getting out of there till like 11. Just pushing that checkout time.
Exactly.
But we had no problem this time with it.
Yeah. And again, when you're in the 1-bedroom or nice, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom suites, they do come with the washer and dryer right there in the room, which is real convenient. But if you're staying there and you're not in one of those rooms, if you're a DVC member, you can still use the washer and dryers like in the community centers usually or near there for free. And if you're not DVC, they have availabilities for paying them for them, but they're really convenient.
Yeah, agreed with that. And believe me, I know that, using the points, a lot of points, or actually paying for some of these suites within the DVC resorts can be quite expensive, can use up a lot of points. But being able to do your laundry there, especially when you could be flying and paying for checked luggage or whatever, if you can, consolidate that into either one checked bag or not have to do it at all and you're just doing carry-on or whatever, you do save a little bit of money in that way, and it's just nice to be able to freshen up some of the clothes you have, especially when when the days get hotter and you're going to be sweating through those clothes quite often, that Florida humidity. So anyway, continuing on with Thursday, we got done, took our bags down to our rental car, and this was Animal Kingdom Day, which was really exciting because not only have we not been to Disney's Animal Kingdom for a long, long time, but also it was Earth Day, which they had some special things going for. And Earth Day also just happens to be Animal Kingdom's birthday. It was its 23rd birthday this year.
Yeah, so it was really fun and special. And on Wednesday when we were with Justin, he really did share some perspective on how to enjoy Animal Kingdom a little better. So we definitely put those good ideas to use, and found that, there was some things, not that we ever disliked it. It was just not on our top list of parks to go, especially if we had limited days, that we would not necessarily include it in our itinerary.
No, and we've mentioned this before. We like Disney's Animal Kingdom Park just fine. But of the 4 parks, it's the one we visit the least. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we live here in San Diego. And living in San Diego, you may know this definitely if you live in San Diego, you know this in Southern California. But across the country, you may know this because we have a world-renowned zoo here in San Diego. Not only just the zoo, which is spectacular on its own, it has an extension off in the other part of the county called the Safari Park, which has a lot of similarities to what you find at Disney's Animal Kingdom Park.
Right. It's where you'll find a lot of information and get to see a lot of animals that are on severely endangered lists that they are trying to work on reproduction. And so, yeah, you're right. It is having that here already makes Animal Kingdom, albeit great, maybe again one of those if we have a shortened number of days that we wouldn't include.
Right. But we do love that. Don't get us wrong. We love that park. I'm just saying, if people question why we don't go to it as often, that's probably why. It's because we just kind of, we can kind of get that thing at home a lot. Right. So we want to do the things that we don't get to do as often at home or as readily available to us. So
well said.
But anyway, we really enjoyed this day at, we weren't there the whole day. We did do about a half day there because we were heading out to meet family, but we did have a great morning and early afternoon out at Disney's Animal Kingdom Park. Took a lot of pictures, a lot of pictures. We got around, took pictures with more of the Disney Photo Pass photographers whenever we had the chance. We did another super zoom. I mentioned we were doing a super zoom before. Outside, I think, well, I'll have to ask you about this one. This one kind of takes place pretty close to where Expedition Everest is. There's a little temple there where they did the Rivers of Light, where the stands are there. There's a kind of a little temple area there. This is where this one takes place if you're looking for it. And there's actually a sign as you're walking by there to kind of direct you to it. But I found that was one of my, I don't know which one was my favorite super zoom, but that might have been my favorite. What did you think?
Yes, I agree with you. I think it was my favorite. It is their newest one. And it's very, I love their whole process of it, right? So you're standing in a queue outside, but then they bring each individual party to to this area where they're going to take the shot, and it has a convenient location table to set your things on and everything. So it really was a more, I want to say intimate kind of experience with the photographer and how they guided you around the building to get set up for it. And, at that point, then you're set away from everybody else. Whereas the other ones, you're kind of in the midst of everything going on. So that's why I felt the word intimate might have, met the qualifications for this experience.
Right. I agree with that. Because of the fact that you're kind of going into this temple, whatever it is, and you're up there and the shot comes across the lake where the Rivers of Light happens, and it happened. Where that shot comes from. So you kind of get this cool view in this temple of you, and it really works out well. I did like the Galaxy's Edge one as well, that has, a little bit, you get a little shot of the Millennium Falcon in it and everything. And I liked that one too. I liked them all. Don't get me wrong.
I know.
I thought I loved all the super zoom photos, but I agree with you. I think the intimacy of this one, the feeling of intimacy more, not having everybody around you watching you so much when you were getting this picture taken, maybe lent to why I enjoyed it so much
right,
more.
exactly. Although the one at Galaxy's Edge was funny where she said, okay, now turn around.
Yeah.
Have your back towards me. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What is this going to look like?
Yeah. That was the first one we did too. So we didn't know what the
Right.
experience would be like. So, and by the way, there are two super zoom photos in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I don't
Right.
know if we mentioned this
I think
last
we did.
episode.
I think we
but-
said why we couldn't get the second
Right,
one
okay.
was because of the queue.
But in case, well, go back and listen to that episode. But just to refresh your memory on that, if you don't, there's one that's over by Docking Bay 7 Food
Mm-hmm.
and Cargo, which is more readily available because it just doesn't get as clogged up there.
Right.
The other one is by First Order Cargo. When the queue for Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run gets extended, it kind of goes in through that area where
Right.
that super zoom would normally happen. It won't happen at that point if there's a queue there. So if you're expecting that one, you may not find it there, but just
Right.
to let you know. So
And you'll want to go online or on the app and see what times they're doing these photos because it's not from opening till closing.
right. That's a good point. Michelle's tips, always the best tips. So, the other thing we had fun doing was the Wilderness Explorers, which
know.
we've got a small taste of it, a couple times when we've been there, but we never really kind of delved into it more. And we really delved into this one
Yes.
because we were just kind of walking around the park checking things out, and it was really fun. We got collected badges, learned all sorts of stuff we didn't know, and we were able to check out a lot of animals while we were doing it, and
Right.
it was just a really good time.
It was, I think we had, I don't know if we had mentioned this, but some of the queues were longer than what we had really wanted or planned for because of our time of trying to get out of that park a little earlier. So we thought, all right, what else can we do? And we did know that because it was Earth Day, they were having a special separate badge just for Earth Day, which was fun because it's just special, right? But you're right. The things we were hearing about the animals, when we've done like with Scott and everything, it's just, it's been kind of fun. But this time, I don't know, it just seemed more on a different level, like, an adult level. I mean, we found out about those mountain lions and their inside their nose, the chambers to
Right.
warm it up, and that they said that's
The
something
snow
that
I think they're snow leopards. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Snow leopards. And that's something that they had only discovered in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow.
Brand new information.
Yeah. It was, like, wow, that's pretty amazing when you think about it. Something so new that they're finding out about an animal out there. And, some of the other things, like doing the scavenger hunt was kind of the bug things were funny, or
Yeah.
the outdoor, not necessarily bugs, some bugs, but
Yeah.
that was kind of funny and hokey. But all in all, the experience I thought was a much higher level of experience than what I thought was just for kids.
Right. But it was also, because some of the questions they ask or whatever, you could tell those are more meant for kids. But there was a lot of information, like you were just talking about
Right.
with the snow leopard, that I think would go over a lot of kids' heads, that wouldn't really maybe put it all together, but
Right.
we're like, wow, we were like fascinated by it and thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
stuff,
I mean,
you
I
know?
think they tailored it because it was, they were just talking to two adults, and I think they probably adjust things based on who they're talking to.
Right. And all the
So-
cast members that were leading all those different groups that were really involved
Yeah.
and had, some great information. You could tell they were excited to pass along a lot of that
Right.
information to us. And it was really fun.
Right. Their great passion was definitely noticeable.
Yeah. And we didn't get every badge. We got probably about half the badges. I
Right.
want to say we did get the special badge. We wanted to be sure and do
Yes.
that. But the good news is because we didn't get all the badges, we have more fun to look
That's
forward to the
right.
next time we get out to Animal Kingdom Park and complete our Wilderness Explorers badges.
Right.
That was a lot of fun. So
And to have these booklets now with that special
Yeah.
Earth Day badge
Yeah.
that doesn't have like each of the badges, so if you've never done this experience, you can pick up a book in many different locations, a little booklet, and then it has in each page, it has where you put the badge of that location.
a sticker, essentially, yeah.
Sticker of the different spots throughout the park that you're going, and you're hearing about either, something mainly about the animals or the lifestyle, or, what makes an area unique. And then you get this, like you said, a sticker that goes in a particular spot in the book. And for Earth Day, we had to figure out where to put that badge because it was unique.
Yeah, I think we put it on the inside cover or the back. I can't recall.
I think we each had a book, and I think one put it on the back and one put it on the inside cover.
Very good. So it was great. They were also had some special Earth Day, birthday backdrops and some stuff that was through the app that you could add to your photos and everything. So if you get the chance to go in the future on Earth Day on Disney's Animal Kingdom Park's birthday, there's lots of cool stuff for you to check out, and we highly recommend it.
Yeah, they had some different foods that were specific for Earth Day, and I think those they had a few days beforehand, or like maybe most of the week. I don't think it was all week.
Right. So a lot of fun, great time. I had a great time there. And then it was time for us to go ahead and move on because we were excited to see family again because we haven't seen them in so very long, as many of us have, over this pandemic time. So off to our rental car, and then we drove off to the Space Coast to meet Michelle's sister and brother-in-law, Helen and Tom, at their condo, which is right on the water.
On the water.
We've taken pictures out there. I think on our February trip, you may have seen some of those out there before. It was just wonderful to reconnect with them. Like we said, we haven't seen them in over a year, and we're all fully vaccinated, so we could just sit and have a great conversation and enjoy each other's company. And it was just great catching up with them.
Oh yeah, it was a blast, and perfect setting to do it in. And like you said, although we were out in their spot in February, this time they were there too. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was just nice to see them. They're only going to be out for a couple months, so we're glad that it fell within our window of when we were going out there, that we were able to visit with them for a little bit. That was the end of Thursday. Friday, we woke up and we were treated to, because this was supposed to happen the morning before, and we were a little disappointed. We're like, oh, we're going to just miss it. But it got delayed by 24 hours, so we woke up the next morning very, very early. Very, very early. But we were lucky enough to be able to catch the launch of the SpaceX Falcon 9, and it's the Capsule Dragon and Crew 2, which was headed to the International Space Station. So not only was this a rocket launch, which we were lucky enough to get a rocket launch when we were there in February, this was a rocket launch of a crew, which was also extra special.
Right. I mean, when we saw the one in February, it was putting like a satellite type of equipment up. This one being manned, and that they were going to the International Space Station. It seemed like the booster rocket was way more powerful this time and really lit up the sky beautifully. You took some great photos and video of it. It was, I thought you captured it pretty well. But being there and seeing it live is just spectacular. And I think actually I heard on the news that they are delayed coming back by a day, and they're because of weather in their return land site off of the coast of Florida. So I think they're returning tomorrow, Sunday. So by the time people are listening to this, they'll probably have returned.
Nice. Yeah, it was. We had a great day. I think we lucked out weather-wise in that we were able to see the launch for much longer than the first launch. Again, you may be correct. It may be a different booster, whatever the case was. But we were able to really see it much more. It was doing some really cool stuff with the atmosphere as it was going off. If you go back and look at our social media and see some of the video I took of it, it was really cool. And we could even see the booster coming back down to land. We were kind of watching it as it went down, and then we ran inside real quickly to see. You can't actually see it when it lands, but you can see it's like it's not there, and then it's there.
Suddenly there.
Yeah.
You see this X on the landing spot, and then suddenly it's there.
Right. So we were able to kind of track it as it was coming down, which was pretty cool too. So that was great. Just a really exciting way to spend the morning, and we got lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of spent the day with Helen and Tom. We went out and toured the communities around Space Coast, the Space Coast a lot. Just to get out for the day and explore around and see what the communities were like. And that was a lot of fun on Friday.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of growth. I mean, now that, NASA and SpaceX have this, collaboration to have more activities with launches, you can see the growth out there. Yeah. It's just amazing.
Booming housing market.
Yeah. Yes. So interesting stuff.
Yeah. So we got to check all that out. And then just, again, this was family time, spending time with Helen and Tom, enjoying their condo, enjoying their company. And, we had a nice dinner with them from a local seafood spot, and just good. We actually, got Tom hooked on a couple of secrets about the Mandalorian from the behind the scenes. The Mandalorian,
right.
He was really excited because he didn't know about the volume and some other things, some of the technology that they were using to make this show. So he couldn't wait to watch it again after we showed him how it looks like they're on location, but they're really just in this giant kind of studio.
Right. It was great seeing him get re-energized about that, and you and Tom went to bed earlier than Helen and I did on Thursday night, and I got her hooked into WandaVision, which she is not as familiar with the characters, but definitely with the genres of style in there, the storytelling. So she kind of got excited about that as well. So I think we had fun sharing those experiences with family too.
Yeah, that was a great time. Saturday was much of the same. Got up, had a nice breakfast with them. Toured communities just because it was just nice to do. Then it was time for us to catch our plane back. We did get some barbecue first because why not? Some barbecue, local barbecue. Then went off and caught our plane. Had it was a little long flight back to San Diego, but it was a nice, pleasant flight back to San Diego. Aside from the length, we were on the tarmac for like almost an hour for some reason. I don't know. We still don't know why that was, because the flight crew never told us. But whatever the case was, we got home. Just really great trip. We were exhausted, but we had a wonderful, wonderful time on our Walt Disney World vacation.
Yeah, safe travels in both directions and everything like that. So all in all, it was a fabulous time.
Yes. So if you have any questions for us about our trip, if you're planning a trip coming up and you want us to give you any tips, any pointers, just anything you want to ask us, please hit us up either through social media or through our Gmail account. We'd be happy to answer them for you. And now we look forward to our next Walt Disney World trip with some more friends in June.
Right.
And of course, as we mentioned already, we have Disneyland coming up tomorrow, which we're really excited about. But that is a wrap up of our Walt Disney World, our April Walt Disney World trip recap. This one is part 2. Always a great time at the Walt Disney World Resort.
Yes.
Just such a wonderful trip. I think we found, not that we ever had this problem or issue before, but we found kind of new ways to approach the parks during this pandemic time where things are a little different. But I'm really enjoying them. I mean, yes, maybe we're not hitting as many attractions as we would in the past, but we're finding that nice balance of getting a few attractions in, but exploring a lot of what else there is to offer at the parks.
Yes, and photo opportunities. We've really delved into that, and I think we're hooked now. I think we're really hooked on being able to come home and seeing all those great photo shots that have been taken with, some pixie dust added, and loving it.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
My friend that's at Disneyland this morning has already texted me that there are a lot of photo ops and things there. So, yeah. Yeah,
I've already seen some pictures of the one that's from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This
really?
Spoiler alert for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Captain America Falcon, kind of, it's not with him, but kind of a backdrop of like his wings and the shield and stuff. It looks pretty cool. So we might have to stop by and do that one tomorrow. We'll see. So let's get to our Disney stories of the week. We have just a couple for you this week, but they were fairly big ones, especially one ginormous one. And as we receive many of the details of Disney Cruise Line's newest ship that is scheduled to join the fleet next year. So cool. Hope you got to see some of the Once Upon a Disney Wish show that they aired on Thursday morning, because it was really fun. And it also, involved our favorite cruise director, Ashley, who did so many great things for us on our Panama Canal cruise. So we have a soft space in our heart for her, and that was kind of cool to see her showcase so much on that.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you for recording that so we could, and that you even held off watching it till we were together. That was really sweet. But it was fun doing that together, and it was way more information than I was expecting, and totally whet my appetite to want to be on that ship, because I knew it would be good, right? But you're thinking, well, it's probably similar to a lot of the things on the Dream or the Fantasy, and it's different. It's really exciting.
And I put this out on Twitter, And I think that when they decided to design the ship, they're like, let's listen to the Hyperion Adventures podcast and see what they really like. And then we're going to put all those things into this ship because we're going to take all of Tom and Michelle's money.
Right,
exactly. We're going to leave them with nothing left in their bank account because all the stuff on the ship calls directly to us.
I know.
Let's go through it. This is from actually a Disney Cruise Line press release. They said, when the Disney Wish sets sail in summer 2022, families will discover a mesmerizing new world created especially for them, a celebration of Disney's rich legacy of enchanting storytelling that brings to life the fantastical worlds and beloved characters at the heart of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and Star Wars adventures like never before. The Disney Wish will feature a brand new, distinctly Disney design concept inspired by timeless tales of wishes come true. The motif of enchantment, a theme found at the heart of so many beloved stories, will manifest in wondrous ways throughout the ship, from the magical forest setting of the Walt Disney Theater to storybook-inspired staterooms, to the fairy tale castle-inspired Grand Hall, where a dazzling wishing star descends for the shimmering chandelier above. Go find this video or some of the photos online because the chandelier looks great and the wishing star is awesome.
Yes. It's amazing. And I'm sure there's probably more dialogue there for you to share, but one of the things that really caught my attention, like when they were showing that main area and that is an area by one of their dining halls or dining rooms. But that's also where they do some of their parties, especially they normally have something there, but on rainy days or whatever, they bring in more things there. And it was great to see that they have like a stage, it looked like a stage area for it.
Right. So, so the Grand Hall is going to have, of course, it's an atrium that you expect to see when you walk aboard a Disney cruise ship, which is always ornate and elaborate, and there's a lot of fun things that go on within that. But this one will also have an area in there that's going to be like a stage area, so they can put on some of these shows during the middle of the day, or at night as people are gathering for dinner or whatever. They could have like our friends Soul Duo up there playing or whatever. It's not going to be just on the stairs at the in the atrium. Right. They're going to actually have a stage to perform on, which I think is exciting. So that's kind of cool. That's a nice aspect that I like that they're adding to it.
Right. It looked like they expanded the area that you could really enjoy that atrium, whereas like in the evenings, a lot of times it's just kind of a row of photographer with backdrops along, and this having the stage area and having the staircase and, like you said, the beautiful chandelier, it just felt more festive of an area, and looking forward to enjoying that
very much. So that was really cool. One of the other things that is brand new kind of to this ship is they announced that it's going to be the first ever attraction at sea. And this is based on the wonderful world of Mickey Mouse. It's the Aqua Mouse. We already had the Aqua Duck.
Right.
This is the Aqua Mouse. The cool thing about this is, yes, it's kind of a raft, kind of water slide / water roller coaster kind of thing, but they're going to have like scenes as you go through it. And actually it's supposedly going to have a story, its own particular story based on this attraction. Right. So as you're going through this thing, you're going to see scenes and it's going to tell a story as you go through. I'm really excited to try it out.
I know. I am too. It looks a little daunting that it goes out beyond the ship.
Well, you were a little bit concerned about that with the Aqua Duck, but then you got on it and you loved it.
I know. I was like, my fight or flight sensors came on for sure. But it was a blast, and definitely want to try this. Like you're describing, it's just great that Disney is doing storytelling along with the attraction, and we see that obviously at the parks, but you don't usually think about that as you're going through a water tunnel, right? So that's great.
Yeah, I think it's really fascinating. I can't wait to try it. It's 760 feet long, and it just looks really cool, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll probably do it on days when are not sea days, because that's when you do those things, because there's much less line. So just a little tip there. So.
And it did show that they had like a regular, more moderate sized or smaller water slide, more open, not in a tunnel and things like that you would expect to see at the
regular
pool.
Normal pool water slide.
Yes.
Nice pool water slide,
Right.
but a little bit different. Yeah. So also they mentioned that there will be the debut of 3 new family dining concepts, which are really exciting. Yeah. This is kind of cool. I think the one that called out to you the most was 1923,
Right.
which is going to be more the more ornate, the more sophisticated type dining room, I think, kind of like Triton's or Lumiere's or whatever. It's named, of course, for the year the Walt Disney Company was founded, and they say it is an elegant celebration of the company's legacy, paying homage to the golden age of animation and offering a tasteful tribute to its Californian heritage with dishes inspired by the state's unique fusion of cultural foods. It looked really nice.
It really did. And, it's always fun when they, do pay homage to the original concepts that created this whole company. And so it's great that they're incorporating that. I mean, it's fun. The other ships love them, but this was great that they actually incorporated some of that history storytelling as well.
Right. It looks really, really cool. And I'm excited for it. Another one that I'm excited about was the Worlds of Marvel, the dining experience, which is the first ever Marvel cinematic dining adventure where guests will play an interactive role in an action-packed Avengers mission that unfolds around them, complete with a worldly menu inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They didn't give us a lot of details on it, but if you're talking Marvel,
right,
and a show while you're eating dinner, I'm in. I'm excited to find out all about it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be just phenomenal. We've seen interaction with animators' palette, especially on the fantasy and the dream, because they're actually interacting with guests. But this sounds like it's taking it to a next level.
It's so cool. And especially because, they teased a lot of stuff within the Oceaneer Lab, within the kids clubs, essentially, where they're doing a lot of cool Marvel stuff and everything. So it's good that this will be, because, the adults don't get in there very often. Sometimes there's open houses. You can try a few things, but you don't get it to really experience it. This is going to be something for the whole family to enjoy Marvel-wise while you're at these meals, which will be really fun.
Yeah, and I don't think either of those, though, were your favorite.
I was just about to get to that. Now we get to the one where I know they're listening to this show, because the next dining experience, I mean, come on, as we all know, hashtag real men love Frozen. Well, yes, the next dining experience is Arendelle, a Frozen dining adventure. I am going to get on my best Elsa and strut into that dining room the first time we get to go in there, for sure.
Oh my gosh. I know. When I saw them show that one, I was just inside cracking up thinking, oh my God, this was the restaurant for you.
Yes. So funny. They talk about it. They say it's Disney's first Frozen-themed theatrical dining experience that will bring the world of Arendelle to life through immersive live entertainment featuring favorite characters like Elsa, Anna, Kristoff, and Olaf, and world-class cuisine infused with Nordic influences. It sounds like a lot of fun, and especially, of course, for me, because hashtag real men love Frozen.
Right. I mean, from what it looked like, it seemed somewhat of a restaurant in the round, and that in the center was actually, I don't know if you'd call it a stage, but that's where some performers could be. And that's what it looked like, at least from, what they shared with us, is that they'd kind of be in the center there, actually doing some performances.
Right. So yeah, it looks really cool. Like I said, it's going to be another dinner and a show type environment, which is really exciting.
Right.
So very excited to check that out for sure.
I liked the standardization of the 3 different themed restaurants, kind of like what they have on all their other ships right now for the rotational dining. But I also like that there was some differences, because I do think, like Animator's Palette is on all of the other ships. So it's nice to see some new theming going on.
Right. So you can get a different experience, because there's a lot of the experiences we've done normal times in the dining room. So this will be completely new and interesting for sure. Right. A few other new and interesting things that are coming up and things that speak directly to us. We'll start with Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge, which you may have to drag us out of kicking and screaming once we get the chance to go on this ship. It's the first time they're going to have Star Wars area within a ship outside of like there's some areas within the kids clubs, the Oceaneer Lab, the Oceaneer Club. But this is going to be for adults. It's going to be a high-end bar styled as a luxurious yacht class spaceship. This richly themed immersive experience will be reserved for adults every evening, offering interactive tasting experiences and signature beverages inspired by destinations such as Batu, Tatooine, and Mustafar. It looks really cool. It looks like a small piece of what Galactic Star Cruiser is going to be like. So, you know, maybe you don't get into Galactic Star Cruiser, but you can get a little taste of it here in the Hyperspace Lounge.
Right. And it, like you said, it does look really cool. It doesn't look like it's a replica of Oga's Cantina. So it's a newer experience, or a different experience, I should say. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited to check that out. Some other things that, again, for us, is they have a new kind of area for adult fine dining that is based all on Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
They have what they've redesigned kind of Palo, which if you've tried Palo before, you know it a certain way. Well, now they're going to have Palo Steakhouse, and that is actually based on Cogsworth. There's going to be a lot of Cogsworth motif through there, but it's also going to be kind of a classic steakhouse with a little Italian dining, kind of like Palo that you know from the other ships. There's Enchanté by Chef Arnaud Lallement, which is going to be very fine dining. Kind of think of Remy on the Fantasy and the Dream, only looked like it was even more so. But this is going to be based on Lumiere himself, a lot of Lumiere motif through this one. And then there's going to be a lounge between them called the Rose, which really looks like a nice lounge that whether you're going to the restaurants or not, you can go enjoy a nice cocktail, a nice glass of wine before, after your meal, or just to go up there and just enjoy that on its own.
Right. And it's probably going to be one of those kind of secret hideaways like the lounge next to Remy's that a lot of people feel like they're not allowed to go into unless they're going into Remy's. And so it's usually a place that you can go to and, you know, that it's not at all crowded.
Right. So looking forward to checking all three of those out, which we will be doing eventually for sure. So speaking of checking all of these out, by the way, there's so many more things. I couldn't get to them all here because we'll just run out of time. There were so many things that were explored on the ship and still more to come. But you should definitely go check that out. You can go find all the stuff on Disney Parks blog. You can also check out that Once Upon a Disney Wish to find out some of the interesting details about it and, you know, some visuals of what they're going to look like. So
I mean, cool. There's obviously things for people of every age. You know, there's they up the game for the kids club, like you said, the Oceaneers Club and Oceaneers Lab, and what they're going to be able to do and experience there. And, you know, so it's not just an adult cruise ship, although I don't think that's what people typically think of Disney anyways, but it definitely has everything to offer to adults.
It's so cool. I was just so excited about it. So anyway, if you're excited about it too, the Disney Wish will sail its maiden voyage, a 5-night cruise to Nassau, Bahamas, and of course, Disney's private island of Castaway Cay on June 9th of 2022. Followed by an inaugural season of 3- and 4-night cruises to the same destinations from Port Canaveral, Florida. Bookings open to the general public on May 27th, 2021. They didn't say this anywhere in the story, but if this follows what they normally do with their bookings whenever they open up, that would probably mean that Platinum Castaway Club members will be able to book on Monday, May 24th, Gold on Tuesday, the 25th, and Silver on Wednesday, the 26th. Don't hold me to that because they haven't said that, but just this is what they've done in the past. General bookings then open up the next day, which would be the 27th. So just keep an eye out for that if you're thinking about booking this. We are definitely thinking about booking this. As a matter of fact, there's also going to be a DVC member cruise, which is going to be the very second sailing. We're looking into possibly doing that, maybe doing a back-to-back with the next cruise after that. Don't know if we're going to do that. Don't know if we can afford that. But we are going to be sailing in its inaugural season on the Disney Wish some way for sure.
Right. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And as we hear more, we'll share that too.
Definitely. We will get it right out to you. Now, moving on closer to home, and then we'll talk back to Disneyland. We found out this week that Disneyland's new membership program may be coming sooner than we expected. This from the Orange County Register. I'm going to hit this really quickly. Disneyland will launch a new membership program this year to replace the annual pass program that was canceled in January out of concern that demand by 1 million pass holders could overwhelm the parks once they reopen following the year-long coronavirus closure. Disneyland Resort President Ken Potrock said on the D23 Inside Disney podcast, I'm not afraid to publicize them because they're
right.
What can
They're
I
the
do?
official. Yeah.
As much as I'd love to compete with them, they have the big name.
Right.
They said that the new membership program for the Anaheim theme parks will be launched this year. Quote, "We're working on that right now, and we will clearly be launching something before the end of the year. It's going to be an exciting program that people, our biggest fans, quite honestly, our most loyal fans, I think are going to be very responsive to," end quote. So if you're disappointed that you don't have your annual passes anymore or whatever, looks like, and it's going to be different. Let's face it, whatever they roll out is going to be different, but there may be something for you coming before the end of the year.
Right. Yeah. So that was good news. And, there is a big demand in Southern Cal. We talked about that a lot. And I think they're really trying to be considerate to allow many different people an opportunity to get to the park.
Right. So looking forward to finding out what they're doing involving that and see if we'll be involved in that as well. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And we always start with Michelle. One, because she's wonderful, gorgeous, intelligent.
So
she plans the best Disney trips. She knows where all the Disney food is. She also has the very best tip. So let's get to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
Oh, you're so kind, sweetie. So my tip is it's a tiny one, but it's one that we actually took part in during our last trip. And it's one that, we've taken note of. So it's a real experience one. And that is, if you need to do anything with your tickets or reservations with guest services, if you don't have to do them on the same day, it's best to do it in the afternoon or evening the day before, because the lines when the parks first open to guest services are always long.
People are trying to kind of get things straightened out before they enter the parks, because a lot of times it has to do with passes or whatever the case may be.
Right. And, there's things with issues with passes or will call or whatever. And there are going to be times that you have to do it because you don't want to lose an opportunity if something is like activated on that day. We get that. But if you don't have to do it in the beginning of the day, doing it in the afternoon or evening, you're going to go through, like, there's usually only maybe one or two people in front of you. And so it's not a long wait.
Yep. That's a great point. And that we did exactly that. And we breezed up. Maybe there was one person in line in front of us. It was really easy, and we were able to get our issues handled very well and moved on and enjoyed the rest of our evening. So really nice. Yeah, good job. Michelle's tip, always the best tip.
Thank you.
My tip this week, it's going to be another tip that I've used many times. It's not hydrate, but that's a good one.
That's a good one.
But my tip is going to be something I break out every time we learn about new Disney cruise itineraries, and that is, if you're thinking about doing it, book it at the earliest time it is available to you, because the prices will almost always never be lower than that point. Right. Plus, you have the better chance to pick any stateroom that you desire.
Right.
And even if you decide later on that you don't want to do it, you just have to have enough to put your deposit down on it. You can cancel that deposit anytime up until you get to final payment date, and you lose nothing, or you can shift it to a different date or whatever you want to do. But again, once you lock in that price, you're good if it goes up higher later. And if it drops down lower later, you can rebook at that lower price, at least up until final payment date. So if you're thinking about doing the Disney Wish, in its inaugural season, during these inaugural itineraries, I would jump on it, depending on what your Castaway Club level is, or general booking, whatever. Jump on it as soon as you possibly can, because it will be the best option for you.
Right. The different categories have ranges. And so when you're first booking, you're going to get it at the lower end of that range. And later on, to try to get that same room, you are going to pay the higher price generally.
Right. And you're also like I said, the stateroom selection, a lot of those better staterooms are going to go So if you get in there early and lock in that stateroom that you want, and again, we don't know a lot about this ship and how the staterooms are going to be, but if you look at the floor plans, you think that looks like a good one.
Right.
Jump on it while you can, and you can always change that later too, as well. By the way, so
and the video that we watched did show kind of the layout of the rooms of the cabins, and they are very similar to what, in terms of kind of like the layout. So you have, bed, couch, sitting area, bathroom. Generally, in the most of the rooms have the split bathrooms.
Right.
So it does. If you've experienced a Disney cruise before, you kind of know what that is. If you have a question, though, let us know. We'll share our experiences. Obviously, we haven't been on the Wish, but like I mentioned, it does look like the layout is patterned. Obviously, the theming and styling is different, but the layout seems to be pretty similar, because I think that they have found that really works.
Yeah, people have said it. I mean, I know we say it. Of all the cruise lines we've been on, that is our favorite layout for any cabin, regular cabin, in any cruise line. So it's really great. So anyway, if you have any questions, please hit us up and we'd be happy to answer if we can. So that's it for this week. Next week, as we mentioned, we're going to be doing a different trip recap. This time it's going to be our return to Disneyland. We're going to tell you all about it. Hopefully you followed along with us on social media, checked out some of our pictures and everything that we put out there, but we'll get more detailed with it on next week's episode. We are so excited to be going back to Disneyland, and so excited I can't even talk.
Right.
But we will be thrilled to share our experience with you next week.
Yeah. Can't wait for it. Can't wait to talk about it. It's so exciting. I mean, Disneyland has been closed for well over a year, and I think that's crazy long time to wait.
Yeah. Yes. So we're excited to get back, and we're excited to share our adventure with you. And we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
you can sign up for our newsletter.
Please sign up for the newsletter. It's just another way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Check out some of these episodes on our YouTube channel. Just do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast. Hit subscribe and you'll know whenever we have a new episode out. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, including questions about anything we talked about on today's show or any show, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Right. We love hearing from you, and we certainly are very appreciative of those of you who tell a friend or family member about our podcast to continue the growth. We've been so impressed with the growth that we've had, and we just love it. And please do share information about our podcast.
Yes, please do. And thank you for those of you who have done that. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week. Until that time, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.